Today we'll be unboxing the Holy Grail Patek Philippe D5270G. When it comes to Patek, this isn't the most complicated piece they've ever made. Far from it. The Henry Graves super complication comes to mind with 24 different complications, which eventually led to the Grandmaster Chime with 33 complications and a total of 1,728 parts. Now of course, the Holy Grail concept is a very subjective matter. After all, when it comes to Grail pieces, every collector is different. Mine will forever be the datograph, for example. But in the world of Patek, there seems to be a few recurring references mentioned in the collector's world. That is the 2499, the 5204, the 5004, the 5970, and finally the successor which we have here today, the 5270. Now before we discuss what makes this the Holy Grail, big thank you to DavidSW for allowing us to showcase this incredible piece to you guys. DavidSW is a trusted independent dealer based out of the heart of Orlando. If you guys are considering your next luxury purchase, DavidSW carries some incredible brands from the likes of Patek, Rolex, AP, Richard Mille, and many more. Make sure you let them know that I sent you and they'll hook you up over there at DavidSW.com. Let's start off with the grandfather piece to completely understand the lineage. The reference 1518, which was introduced in 1941. Every perpetual calendar chronograph that came after that in Patek's lineup has been based and improved throughout the years based out of the 1518. Without that watch, we probably wouldn't have all of these incredible pieces, including the 5270. Now, as I mentioned, the 5270 is the successor of the 5970. You may have heard for the longest time that the 5970 is the Holy Grail, and it was. Well, that was at least until the 5270 came out, and many directed their attention to that piece. A major difference between them is the 5970 introduced in 2004 had a heavily modified Lemania 2310 caliber, whereas the 5270 introduced in 2011 has a fully in-house developed caliber. Now you have to understand that this was a very big moment for Patek, because it was basically their very first introduction of a fully in-house chronograph perpetual caliber. That alone makes this extremely desirable and collectible in the Patek world. It signified a new standard for the brand and their collectors, and you have to keep in mind that while everybody has their attention directed at the 5711, which keeps going up in price, now trading anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000, people are missing some very important pieces from Patek, including this piece, the 5270, or if you prefer, the 5970. Now in terms of design, the 5270 is absolutely stunning. It is a very complicated dial with the chronograph, moon phase, day and night indicator, the leap year indicator, sub-seconds, tachymeter, and finally we get the day, date, and month. It is very easy to ruin a design by adding more and more complications. Not in this case. Everything flows harmoniously together and nothing is really disrupting one another. Quite frankly, the only complaint I have is the chin in the bottom subdial. It seems to be a common complaint, though not a deal breaker for me. Now for your reference, this watch is a 41mm watch by 49.5mm lug to lug, which means top to bottom, and that is a huge factor in how it's going to fit on your wrist. The watch also has a 12.9mm thickness, which is extremely impressive when it comes to a watch this complicated. My wrist is 6.5 inches and it wears beautifully. I have no complaints, and in terms of the size, I actually prefer the 41mm size because the smaller you get with complicated watches, the more cramped it looks, and in my opinion, it kind of ruins the design. Overall, this is a Holy Grail Patek, one of my favorite Pateks ever made. I'm blessed that I got to experience it, and for those who get to own it, it is one of the best timepieces I've personally experienced. There are very few watches that compete with this, like the datograph, but in my opinion, if you ever get the chance to see this watch, it is absolutely worth it. Now a quick word from our sponsor, DavidSW. When considering your next luxury timepiece, DavidSW provides one of the greatest watch buying experiences in all of Florida. Located in the heart of Orlando, make sure to head over there to purchase some rare timepieces from brands like Rolex, AP, Patek, Richard Mille, and many more. If you aren't able to visit, make sure you go online to speak with a watch specialist so they could assist you with any questions you may have. The expert team over at DavidSW will make sure you have a flawless buying experience.